I really dislike streaming services at this point. They've pretty much gotten out of hand, I would say. Back in the day, it was actually really convenient to have streaming services. Like when there was only Netflix, or I think it was only like a couple streaming services at the time, it was really convenient because they had all the shows and movies that you wanted to watch whenever you wanted to watch. Kind of like on demand if you had Comcast. That was another favorite of mine when I was like a kid. But at this point, we have moved past just Netflix or a couple streaming services having everything, because all those companies that own the movies or own the media found that they actually wanted to make their own streaming services because they're losing out on their share of the money. So it just kind of exploded into this chaos of 25 different streaming services. Pretty much every channel or network, like back from like old cable time, like they've decided to make their own streaming service. So at this point, it's like so hard to even find what you want to watch. Like when you look up, you have to Google what you want to watch and where it's on. And half the time, that stuff is just outdated anyway. So you go on to that streaming platform that it says, and it's not even there, which really just sucks at this point. It's so hard to find stuff that you want to watch and where they are located, especially when they're changing platforms like every 3 months, it feels like. So not only do you have to keep track of who created the show, but where they're licensing it to and who is buying it at that time, because everything's leaving, everything's moving around, and it's so hard to keep track of. Not to mention that each service or streaming service offers like 5 different plans, it feels like. Like they offer with or without ads. You can have a family account, you can have a single account, and it's all really confusing. An example I have is we have Netflix with ads, and I don't mind it, it's whatever, it's a little bit cheaper, but I wanted to watch something, and it said I couldn't watch it because the licensing agreement with that media said that it can't have ads on it or something. I forget what the exact explanation that Netflix gave me, but that was just so frustrating because not only am I personally electing to pay less to watch ads, but it's just locking videos or movies that I want to watch. And way back when, this really wasn't a problem because you could just share your password. Like if anybody remembers the glory of password sharing, like you could literally use anybody's account whenever you wanted. Like literally, I knew people who were using people's accounts from like other countries. So it wasn't even just like family and friends. It was like just people from like around the globe whose like accounts got put on the internet. But obviously they quickly tapped into changing that, and they started tracking your location. So now you couldn't use this password sharing, and that was just a huge crackdown. I remember when that all was going through, and that was a big deal. Not only that, but some streaming services use like limited screens. So like YouTube TV, for example, you can only have like 3 screens at a time, which isn't really ever a big deal, except for when like you have multiple people in the household watching the same or different things on different TVs, and then you get the little thing pop up, there's too many people, you've hit your screen limit, and it's so annoying. Sticking to YouTube TV though, what they do sometimes is if I'm not in my house, they will pop up a thing saying like, are you traveling? And you basically just have to hit yes, I'm temporarily here. But it's like so annoying because I don't understand. If you have to pop something up saying like asking if I'm traveling, and then I just say I'm temporarily here every time, like I don't understand why I even have to do it in the first place. Moving more past the streaming service or like video streaming, I've heard that Amazon Prime is also going to start only letting you deliver to one household address, which like I kind of get, but I don't know. It just seems so annoying. Like they're doing everything they can to try and get as many people signed up and not allow you to share with like people you know or family. It's gotten to the point where they've even branched off into like the sports world. I know specifically for the NFL or like when they have holiday or specialty games, those games are like coveted by these streaming services. And one specifically that we've all kind of had to deal with this past Christmas Eve was Netflix. And they're just so bad at live streaming. Like we had the football games on during Christmas Eve, and oh my God, they were just buffering. They weren't clear. And before you blame my internet, I've heard this story from so many people. A famous example, the Paul Tyson fight, that was the worst streamed event ever. And they still just can't figure out these football games. I think I saw that it was like some regions were having problems, not all regions, but it was just so annoying. And another thing, the MLB games on Apple TV, so annoying. I genuinely do not like Apple TV. Now, it might have changed since I've last used it, but the last time I tried to use Apple TV, it was so difficult. Like, if I were to use Apple TV on my phone, it made me log into, like, my dad's Apple ID, because he's the one who had the account. So I had to change my phone's Apple ID to his just to use the app. Like it wouldn't let me go in and just log into his account like it would if you were on like a computer or something. So after that, I really haven't touched Apple TV. Maybe they've changed it. I really hope they do because the app was just so bad. Like why is that even a thing that I need to be in somebody else's Apple ID to use the account? Now, I've gotten so fed up with streaming that I've actually bought a DVD player, and I buy like cheap DVDs that I see from like a thrift store, or like some stores they sell like cheap $5 DVDs. I'm not just like buying anything. I'm trying to just collect the ones that I really want to watch often, but it's just my cheap alternative. Like it was like $20 for a DVD player. DVDs, if you go to a thrift store, they could be like $1, $2, $3. $5 still isn't even that bad for like a DVD that you own forever. And that's really just for my favorite movies, because like I'm so tired of trying to look up where they're at and trying to watch them. Not to mention that literally it feels like every 3 months these streaming services are increasing and jacking up the prices. So like eventually we're just going to be priced out of even owning or watching anything. And it kind of makes sense when you think about their goal. Like their whole market is that they hope you subscribe to their streaming service, forget about it, and then just get stuck on like auto pay, paying stuff that you don't even know you're paying for. And then when they jack up the prices, it jacks that auto pay up and you just don't even know what's going on. This is the same model that other like subscription-based services use, because like just the other day we found out that we were paying for Apple Care and it wasn't even attached to a phone. Like we saw that it was getting paid and we looked into it, couldn't find the Apple Care to like unsubscribe, and like after looking that up, somebody online said you had to actually link the Apple Care to a phone before you could unsubscribe. And that's just like so unbelievably strange. Like why can you even pay for Apple Care and it not be linked to a phone? And that kind of leads me into unsubscribing, like the whole dilemma with trying to unsubscribe from some of these streaming services. Like they actually make it impossible. I know at one point they were circulating around like the one-click cancellation rule or something. I don't know if that ever passed. I think it was like a law that they were trying to sign in where like streaming services would need to make it so that you could press like 1 or 2 buttons and unsubscribe. Because like when you go to unsubscribe, not only is it tucked away in like the most like unknown corner of these websites, they just keep like berating you with like, are you sure you want to unsubscribe? What if we lower your plan to this? It's like, no, I just want to unsubscribe. Like, why is it difficult? At the bottom line, streaming services are just getting out of hand, in my opinion. I know everybody wants their share in like their profits, but it has genuinely become more difficult to use a streaming service than it is to just watch cable TV. I really thought that the streaming empire was going to last a little bit longer, but I really think it's going to crumble because it's just so unstable. It's impossible to find what you want, and they just keep jacking up the prices. So I don't have high hopes for streaming in the future, but we'll see what happens. Sorry, this is just kind of my rant. I was really getting frustrated with streaming services, and I just wanted to get it all out there. So thanks for watching. If you made it this far, let me know what you think about streaming services. If you're subscribed to like all of them, a couple of them, how you kind of navigate that. So yeah, see you next week.